everyone. Welcome back to the After the Scales podcast, episode 32. And it's our Northern Sprint Car Nationals preview show. I am Shaun Blight of Canadian Racing Tours, along with my esteemed co-host from the Sunshine State, Jacob Dove of Phenom Motorsports. We're talking 360 sprint car racing today. We've got a special co-host. He's back on for the second time, Darren Dryden. And joining us, a two-time winner of the Northern Sprint Car Nationals, Ryan Turner. Thanks for coming, guys.
Our pleasure.
Thank you for having me. Always appreciate it.
All right, so let's get into it. 30 grand on the line. I'll throw this one out to maybe both of you to start, and then Darren can come on as an official co-host and doesn't have to answer any of our questions. But what kind of additional preparation goes in? I mean, this is your Daytona 500, your Indy 500. How excited are you? How nervous are you? What are the feelings like going into this week? Maybe start with you, Darren.
Yeah, obviously very important night for us both. And me still, feeling like a rookie going into it compared to, obviously, he's got a lot of experience, has won it twice too. Amazing accomplishment. So, we're just, doing all of our checking everything that we need to, just making sure we're on top of everything. All of our bull checks, making sure we're, got everything, prepared in the trailer as well. And obviously the prelim night definitely, huge help, get us rolling in the right direction as well. And track conditions will always play a factor.
Yeah. I think it's the little things, some things you don't do for, 7 or 8 races, greasing your drive shaft, oiling your hubs, making sure all those little things are right. That car, when it hits the track Friday, Saturday, it's got to be 100%. That just makes it easier on the driver, on the crew chief, setting it up right. It's every little thing that your crew does week in and week out has to be perfected. And, that shows, it's basically what the World of Outlaws do week in and week out. We really got to make sure we bring our A game on Saturday.
And I know, Ryan, off camera, you were mentioning about the car count. It's going to be a really good turnout between not only the Canadians, but also us Americans are traveling all the way up there to race in this big national Canadian sprint car race. But, what does it mean to you guys knowing that, everybody wants to compete against you guys and beat you in your home country, and you're going to try to do your best you can to, do your best?
Whenever anyone comes to home soil, you want to protect that. We had that during COVID with Jordan Poirier. He'd come to Ontario and beat us up, and that made us better, made everyone around us better. Even we've had Dylan Westbrook travel around the States and go beat up some people in their hometown. So, you're always trying to defend your home turf. I feel like we have probably one of the best 360 cores Ohsweken has ever had. But if you look at some of the names coming to town, we're getting the best of the best from the, the rival series. Just to name a couple off the top, you got Max Stambach coming, Jared Horseman, Dustin Daggett. And then on the other side, we got, I don't think Jason Barney's on the list, but he's going to be there. Jordan Poirier, and the list goes on and on. So, we got to really, you just can't make a mistake all night. You got to time trial well. You got to run good in your heat race, and you got to make the dash. That really helps you set yourself up for a good night.
Jumping off of that a bit, I didn't have this question kind of written down, but you made me think of it. Maybe to both of you guys. As a sprint car fan in Canada, I always look forward to, and we've seen a little bit more this year with Max Stambach. He came up a couple weeks ago for an event. As drivers, is this something you guys want to see more of? Like, I would love to see like the SOS and the ESS team up to have maybe 4 events or something, like 2 in Canada, 2 in the States, and have like a real Canada-US kind of rivalry, like a posse versus outlaw kind of thing with Canada and the US. I think that would be really cool. Like, is that something that you guys have ever discussed or would like to see?
Yeah, I can take that first. Obviously, we would like to see that. As you know, we travel quite a bit. We go to the GLSS a lot throughout the year when we can, when it fits our schedule, and we'll go to the ESS once in a while as well. I feel like that might be forming between the GLSS and the SOS. We might see some more of that, and even possibly going across the border the other way. The GLSS, they came up here to race against us at Ohsweken 2 times and South Buxton once. But I could see possibly going the other way. The only factor of that gets thrown in is, of course, the border, as we all know. So that's a little bit of the negative part of it. But we'd love to see it. You know what? Competition, it just makes it that much better. Well, Darren can speak to it because he beat them all at South Buxton. So, it just makes you feel that much better. But, and Darren, we were coming, ran second, but just not enough. But no, honestly, the rivalry and just the competitiveness, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, no, the competition is huge, and obviously going against the best of just across the border. You got two of the divisions there, ESS, GLSS. We even having some fun racing with them. We have talks of us just trying to make the efforts of doing some extra races next year and stuff like that, to have an appearance with them. There's definitely talented drivers, and seeing how you stack up against different field of drivers as well. And when everybody gets involved in the same race, it's crazy competition. And every track's different, and it's definitely something that I can see happening more and more in the future. There's definitely a lot of effort this year to allow the GLSS and the ESS division to compete in some extra races with us, and just make sure that they're able to keep their schedule free to attend, and see what they can do against us, and see what we can do to keep them out of our home turf. And obviously the Canadians did a great job earlier this year when they came down. GLSS kind of raced against us, and we were able to fill the podium all those nights. So it definitely huge for the Canadians. And back in the day, you'd see more of the Americans running up front, and they're definitely they're no slouches at all. It's just the competition in Canada seems to be a lot stronger right now than maybe it was in the past. So it's great to see.
And obviously you guys got Ohsweken this weekend, but kind of both of you, as far as your schedule for the rest of this year, tell our viewers about what you guys got coming up. Obviously, you're going to be heavily running around in Canada, but also some there in the Northeast. So kind of tell our viewers about your guys' schedules.
Yeah, so
you go, Ryan. You go.
Okay, so yeah, well, Darren and I are going to be competing in the SOS. We still have South Buxton at the end of September, and then Humberstone at the beginning of October. Us personally, I could see us hitting, Waynesfield late in the year, middle of October, and then also Outlaw at the end of the year as well with the ESS. And obviously, this all determines on how we end the season. How many engines we got, how many are fresh, where's our cars at, those kind of things. But weather looks good, and we got some crew guys. We're always itching to go.
Yeah, and for us, we're basically gonna be sticking with SOS to finish off the year. We got 3 races there that he mentioned, and as well as obviously 2 Ohsweken races this week. Other than that, I don't know if we're gonna venture across, do any of the extra races. We're gonna see how the year ends out, and we may just regroup and be as strong as we can for next year. But it's definitely in talks with the team to see what we want to do moving forward.
All right, Darren, you're our co-host. Did you have anything for your fierce rival there, Ryan?
Yeah. So if you were to obviously get that 30 grand again, you've done it twice. Purse is a little bit more than you're used to. Where would you put that money? Would you see yourself putting it back to the team, more of a personal thing, or where would you see yourself putting that?
Personally, I would actually probably put it into a shock dyno for myself. That would be the honest truth. Would look at shock dyno. I only get some of that throughout the team, so I would put it in for that. I feel like if I could take some shocks home and start working on them, it could make my program that much better, and that's what it's all about. That's personally what I would do. So it's always going towards racing.
And Ryan, I'm curious, where did your start in racing come from? Where'd your passion come from? Just tell us about how you got involved in it.
Yeah, so my grandfather raced for 40 years dirt modified, and then obviously my father, my brother. So it kind of was a family thing. I started in the Thunderstocks in 2012, ran that for 2 years. I went to Dirt Sportsman for a year in 2014, and then moved to sprint cars in 2015. So I got called veteran not so long ago, and it's honestly starting to feel a little bit more like it now. But it's funny still to hear. but no, I've been around this a long time, and I try to tell a lot of the new people that get into it, like, you gotta. It takes time. You need laps. You need those mistakes to figure out from them. You need those close calls to figure out from it. It's all those different things, and the one thing about racing, I feel you always continuously learn. You're always striving for something new. You think you found a setup and you think you're really fast one week and the next week you're not. So you're looking and reinventing the wheel again, trying to make yourself good. And I think that's where I find the most passion is the competitiveness, and then also the figuring out and always trying to make your car better than the next person.
And Ryan, I know that you have a family and kids. Kind of talk about how you balance that with racing and busy racing schedule. You're at the shop. You're at Nitro 54 shop right now. Kind of talk to us about your daily behind the scenes routine that you go through. It's obviously racing takes a lot of time in people's lives, but what's that rewarding effort that you believe that once you go out there and race against the competition, and no matter what position you still have your family there cheering you on?
Yeah, so as most people that we race with, you got a daily job, you got a family, you got a house, you got all those things going on, right? You try to do your best, try to work with your partner on that. I'm very lucky. My wife has the kids a lot, because of what I'm doing throughout this summer. So I'm very lucky that I think the most rewarding part though is seeing the twins around the race car and just having an absolute blast. They get the wrenches. Even when they get to the track, they point right to the pit mule at the pit box, and they want a wrench, and they start slamming it around the car. And next thing you know, they're hiding a wrench in the axle tube. So you got to make sure stuff comes back out. But we bring them to the race shop, and they have a blast there, and I think that's the most rewarding part. And just to see their interest in it already, they turn sprint cars on at home, and they start saying "Daddy," pointing at the TV, things like that. So I think that's the most rewarding part.
What's it like having Dan Nanicote as a team owner? Obviously, he's a very supportive individual throughout all of racing. He's full of excitement all the time. What's it like having him as a team owner and in your corner?
Honestly, Dan's probably the easiest guy to race for and to have a lot of fun with. Very supportive. I think, with Liam and I going down the road, I think he's missed maybe 4 of my races, and I haven't counted them up. I'd probably be around 80 or 90 races with Nitro 54, just for an example. He's always on the road and having a good time with us, and he's always smiling and laughing. And I don't even think he's, ever told me a negative thing about what I'm doing out there. So, and I obviously am hard on myself a lot, but no, Dan honestly is probably, I don't want it to go to his head, but one of the best car owner out there. He's an awesome guy, and I think a lot of people see that, and I think he's honestly having a lot more fun being a car owner and socializing. He's hardly at our trailer, but he's always somewhere around the racetrack.
All right, so I got the $1,000,000 question here. For those who maybe don't follow the sprint car racing scene here in Ontario as closely, Dylan Westbrook at Ohsweken, I think, if I correct me if I'm wrong, has won every feature there this year except for one, I think.
Yeah.
What has to be done to beat him?
Well, the first thing is Mother Nature is helping us out with all the sun. So, but I shouldn't even say that because he's been a lot better in the slick this year. He's definitely found something. If anyone had to ask, I think hands down, you say it's going to be Dylan Westbrook coming out on top on Saturday. But you know what? You got to get there. Like, he still has to race his way in. That's why you show up on Saturday with a car and ready to go. And I think everyone is going to be trying to, figure something out by Saturday to be there and just be close to him. As long as you're close to him, you don't know what's going to happen, right? But no, definitely the weather looks sunny and hot all week. That's going to change things because now they're going to have to water it more than they have all year. This year we've had a lot of rain, and that's played into the favor of Dylan and maybe away from Mike Bowman a lot on the slick stuff. But no, we'll see. Every race night's different, and the one thing is he's had a lot of good luck this year. And sometimes that runs out. I feel personally we've had a lot of bad luck, so I'm hoping our luck kind of turns around here at the Nationals weekend.
As everybody knows, every time at Ohsweken, he's the threat. But with all the good guys there that are going to be coming, it's going to be interesting. And the big thing is going to be, is he going to be in the redraw? And if he's going to be in the redraw, then obviously everyone's eyes are going to be on him and track conditions. And he's really good at reading how the track changes throughout the race. And he, obviously if it's top dominant, he's the guy. But if the bottom starts coming in and, near the end of the race as it's slicking off, it could open up some opportunities for other drivers. So it will be interesting, but as many can see, he would be, the one to beat going into it.
All right. I've got one more for each of you guys. You're around the track all the time. And if there's a driver who maybe is flying under the radar and kind of I'm not going to say comes out of nowhere, but maybe people aren't talking about that, comes up and steals this thing, who do you think that would be? You can't say yourself.
I'd probably go with the guy parking beside me all the time, Nick Sheridan. He's been on fire. He's definitely got potential. He's shown the speed. He knows what he's doing. So I don't know if he would really be considered under the radar, but he hasn't, won any of these big races yet. So I definitely think he could be, one to look out for.
I'm gonna have to go with my teammate. He's had a bad year too, just a lot of bad luck. But you know what? He last year was probably the next fastest car to Mike Bowman and Sam Hapety in the slick. So you know what, we'll see. I think he's still got a lot in store, and he's has a lot of speed out there. So I think he might be the guy that's flying under the radar the most.
See, we don't encourage illegal gambling on this show or anything like that, but I'm sure there's some 5s and 10s being passed around in the stands on Saturday. So we want to provide some information out there to the people that might be in the crowd picking winners. So, Ryan, before we let you go, we always end our show with our rapid fire segment. I know that Ryan has seen this show before. He's a loyal watcher of this show. And we got a little twist, though. We've got Darren is going to pepper you with our 10 questions. So we figured who better than your fellow competitor. So, Darren, whenever you're ready, fire away.
Yeah. So if you could get a ride from any professional team, who would it be?
I'd probably have to go with Gravel's team right now. They seem to be the most balanced crew chief wise. I think honestly, and I'm thinking sprint car wise, right? I'd have to go with Gravel's team right now. That car just seems to work everywhere. It looks like it's so easy to drive out there.
Definitely. Now, bucket list track to try in your sprint car.
Since I watched the show, I'm going to say same as you, Eldora. I've been trying to make it there, and even we were going to make it there this year after Knoxville, but we had to run the Friday night instead of Thursday and just didn't have enough time to make it back to go to Eldora that night. So, yeah, that's definitely on the bucket list.
Cool. Now, favorite food on race day?
Oh, favorite food. I have to go with chicken stir fry.
There you go. And if you didn't race, what sport would you wish to be a professional in?
I'd probably have to say hockey. Hockey was my second passion, definitely growing up. Not that I was amazing at it, but that'd probably be the other.
Uh-oh.
You didn't agree.
Okay, shoot again now.
Yeah.
That answer again.
What is your most memorable racing achievement?
I'd probably have to say the second nationals. Just the way Brandon and I bonded, and our team and crew, and Dan and all that, and to build up to that second nationals when there was a lot more definitely guys there. We had to pass Poirier for the win, so it'd be the second nationals win for sure.
Cool. Now here's a good one. Do you curse and swear in your helmet when you get mad on the track?
Probably not till after. I definitely throw some F-bombs out there for sure. You start going backwards. I focus on it in the time, but then after I'm rolling off the track, there's a couple going off.
Nice, that's funny. Now, slick, cowboy up, or rubbered up track? Which of the three?
Definitely slick. One in the rubber at Brighton, so I can't totally go against that. But I'm not a cowboy at all. I'm getting better at it, but definitely slick.
There you go. Beer or liquor to celebrate?
Beer.
Figured that one. Now, I guess we've already answered this one, but if it wasn't your teammate, who do you see as an underdog to win the Nationals?
I'd have to actually go with, and I'm just gonna talk local track guys, and I'm gonna say Josh Hansen. I've had some fierce battles with him the last couple of weeks. He's been fast. When he puts it all together, he seems to be up on that podium. So it could just fall his way, right?
Cool. Now, to help out the locals, what's your Ohsweken setup for the slick track?
I'm bringing in a guy for that. I'm bringing in a setup guy. So don't. No, I'm not giving that away. And just so you know, Darren, my old national setups, they don't work. Okay, tried them. So
yeah.
I could literally show it on the screen here, and you could try it, but it's probably not going to work for you.
I saw Darren there with a pad and paper. He was ready to take down some notes.
You're gonna slip one there.
No, not going to slip. No, I think and we talked about before. That's the thing about racing. Like, you got it all figured out. You write as many notes as you can about everything, and something changes, whether it's chassis, shocks, tires, and then you got to recreate it all. And what we've noticed on the road is you actually got to learn how to change your setup to what's going on, not the fact of this setup works here, right? So that's the different mindset you need to be doing while you're racing.
Yeah, even you've given us, a little bit of advice this year too, which helped, and all that we take for granted. It's just, it's great that all of us competitors can help each other and realize that there's more to it than just these simple adjustments. All in all, it all has to come together, and we're still able to help each other get in the right direction.
No, agreed, and I see that a lot more in the sprint car world, more than like the late model and the modified world. And I think that respect might be just because of the open wheel factor. But no, I see there's there's a great community amongst the drivers at Ohsweken there, and it's awesome to see.
All right, Ryan, we really appreciate you coming on and wish you the best of luck this weekend, although I'm sure Darren doesn't wish you that much luck, but
luck. Nice.
Yeah.
Did you notice I didn't pick him as the underdog? That's just to give him motivation. I'm just getting him fired up.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to the races this weekend, guys. It's going to be awesome. Looks like we're a few days out, but it looks like the weather is going to be great too. So see you at the track this weekend, Ryan, and best of luck, and thanks again.
Sounds good. Thank you, guys.
And we'll be right back with Jordan Thomas after this commercial message.
After the Scales is proudly presented by DJD Graphics. From commercial and personal vehicles to racing bikes and cars of all makes, models, and disciplines, DJD Graphics can fully customize your vehicle to suit your needs. For more information, contact Darren and visit his website at www.djdgraphics.com. Tell him Shaun and Jacob sent you to receive special rates.
All right, everyone. Welcome back to the Northern Sprint Car Nationals preview show. We're proud now to be joined by one of the American invaders coming up to try to take all of our money. The Harding heartthrob himself, Jordan Thomas, best hair in sprint car racing. How's it going, man?
Not too bad. Thanks for having me on tonight, guys.
Yeah, appreciate you coming on. Before we get into Ohsweken, let's talk about your weekend, because you broke through with your first win of the year with the ESS sprints and winning at Weedsport, which isn't an easy thing to do. So tell us about that night.
Yeah, so we rolled out of the box pretty quick. I think we were third quick in the group, went from fourth to second in the heat race, and then got lucky with the redrew fourth. And Weedsport is definitely a tricky track. You can get into a lot of trouble there quick, and yeah, we got up to second there pretty quick, and was battling with Logan Cursifoli, and he's been pretty good as of late. The last couple of weeks, he's really come on and really turned his season around. And yeah, battled with him all night. We got the lead to go, or with like 10 to go, and kind of gapped a little bit. But yeah, like you said, it was good to get the win there and get the monkey off our back here this year.
Now, coming up this weekend, Jordan, obviously you're going to Ohsweken Speedway. You're going to be competing with a lot of good cars that are coming out for it. As an American yourself, obviously the favorites are going to be the Canadians who run there, weekly and commonly. So how are you preparing, trying to gain any advantage of, are you watching any other races or kind of getting any information about how you want to prepare your car preparing for this weekend?
We've been going there for maybe 7, 8 years now, up to Ohsweken for the Nationals. We'd love to get up there some more if it was a little bit closer for us. But we got about 6.5 hour ride up there. But no, really, we don't do anything crazy to prepare for this weekend. It's just a normal week, normal maintenance, normal preparation. We go to the races looking to win every week in and week out. So anything short of that's going to be a disappointment. But we'd be happy with the top 5. I think the last 4 nationals that I've been at, we've run in the top 10, a couple 4th place finishes, 6th to 7th, and then back in 2017 we ran 2nd to Macedo. So we got a good notebook on Ohsweken, so it's just going to be normal preparation, and you need a lot of luck on your side for the nationals to be up front.
Yeah. Now, where would you say the nationals, like our nationals that you're going to be attending here, where would you say that would rank? Your races to go to throughout the year. Obviously, it's always on your list to compete. Is this one of your top ones? How do you compare it to the others?
For me, this is our biggest weekend of the year. Besides maybe Knoxville, you don't get much bigger than this for 360 racing. And what Glenn and everybody at Ohsweken's been doing to progress this event year after year, it's just getting bigger and bigger. And I'm surprised a lot more guys don't come venture up to Canada and compete in this event. I can remember when we first started coming up there, there'd be 70, 80 cars for the Nationals. Now, I don't know, we were looking at, 50 for this weekend. So it's kind of surprising that more guys from America don't come up and race. But, yeah, that's just how it goes.
So tell us about your background in racing, Jordan. I know you've got your dad was a racer himself. Maybe tell us about your family's history in racing and then how you got into it.
Yeah, so my family's been in racing, since maybe the 1940s, I want to say. My dad's grandfather had cars. Then my grandfather owned cars. They never really raced. They fielded cars for my dad and my uncle on the ESS tour back in the 80s, 90s. And then once my dad got out of racing, I stepped into go-karts. Did that till I was about 14, and when we were going to make the transition to either moving up to the next step in the go-karts, we kind of all sat down and we were like, do we want to do that or go micro sprint racing? And looking at the cost of micro sprint racing, it was like, well, we really don't know anything about this, so we were looking at the 305s, and you spend about the same amount of money doing the 305 stuff as you would a micro. And my dad had background in the sprint car, so yeah, when I was 14, we bought a sprint car, and we've been at it ever since.
Correct me if I'm wrong. I just wanted to jump in here real quick, Jordan. Did your dad drive the Zemco car for a time?
Yeah, so in the 90s, Billy Pouch had commitments to doing some other things, and my dad got the call from John Zemaitis and to drive the Zemco car. He did that for a little bit, and then he also drove for Bob Weichert for a bunch of races. So yeah, he had he was a gasser back in the day, and he went to Australia for a winter and did the whole winter tour over there. So yeah, he was just in his prime when he had a medical issue to come up, and that kind of cut his racing career short right when he was peaking. So who knows what that would have turned out to be. But he puts 110% in on my racing career. So.
And Jordan, obviously your focus is on this weekend, but kind of moving forward after that, with obviously you have the 360 sprint car and the 410. What are some races on your schedule coming up that you're kind of highlighting and looking forward to the most?
Besides this weekend at Ohsweken, really, we kind of start slowing down here. We have a couple more ESS races that we're looking at doing. Fulton, you got the Outlaw Fall Nationals and the Dutch Hogue race at Outlaw Speedway. We always run really good there, and they pay pretty good. Not as good as this weekend, but Tyler Seary really does a good job at Outlaw and puts up some money for the sprint cars. And I think we got a race with URC maybe at Bridgeport, and other than that, really nothing else going on for the rest of the year.
Obviously, you say your father is a huge impact to your racing. Do you find him very helpful when it comes to learning how to drive these sprint cars? Making the transition from a 360 to a 410 and all that. How does he impact you and your driving style?
My dad really doesn't give me many driving tips or pointers. He basically is the crew chief, I guess you would say. He sets the car. He does all the setups and all that, and I just give him my feedback, and we go from there to make the car better throughout the night. But yeah, other than just setup work, he doesn't really tell me much about where I should be putting the car, or if I'm fast here or fast there, what the line is. He that's kind of all on me now.
So Jordan, you were one of the kind of the local Northeast U.S. guys, kind of negatively impacted, I would say, by the All-Stars leaving and High Limit taking over, because we lost. I say we because it's in driving distance of me. Used to go to a lot more All-Star shows, and you guys bought a 410 not long ago, so you're not able to race the 410 as much. But you did have a great run at Utica Rome this year. Tell us about your 410 racing this year, and maybe where you want to go with that down the road.
Yeah, so this year we ran, I think, 3 410 races. We ran twice with the High Limit. The first night was at Outlaw Speedway. We ran the B main, won that, and started, I don't know, 20th, 21st, whatever that worked out to be in. And we drove up to like maybe 15th or something. It was dusty track, all that you get with Outlaw. And then Utica Rome, yeah, we're good out of the gate. We time trialed pretty good, set us up good in a heat race, passed a couple cars, started maybe like 16th in the feature and got up to 12th. We were racing with Anthony Macri, Kerry Madsen, Danny Dietrich, so that just gaining that experience of racing with the 410 guys like that really helps and makes me a better 360 driver. And then we ran once with the Outlaws at Weedsport this year. We finished 13th there. So we've been gaining on the 410 stuff, but it definitely makes me a better driver in the 360 ranks. What future plans we have with the 410, we're not really sure. Over the off season, we were looking at maybe buying a new motor, because the one we have is maybe 16 years old, is dash 12 motor. You can't really go anywhere other than New York slick tracks with it.
Right.
I wanted to take a moment during the show to, if you go over by Shaun's head.
Giant head, yeah.
Yeah. QR code for all our viewers that are watching. You can go grab your Ohsweken tickets if you haven't done so already. But Jordan, what would it mean to you? We asked Ryan Turner kind of the same question before we had you on, but what would it mean to you, and especially as American, go to Canada and say you win this weekend, $30,000? What would that mean to you?
It would be huge. It'd be the biggest win of my career. And yeah, we'd love to knock that off, put that on my resume. We've been close in the past, running second, like I said, to Macedo a few years back. But yeah, I don't know. We always seem to run pretty good, but the Nationals win has definitely slipped through our fingers a couple times, and we go up there aiming to win. So
well, yeah, Jacob mentioned $30,000. I mean, that's 30 Canadian, so that's only like $8,000 for you guys. So don't get too excited. But Pass it back to you, Darren.
Yeah, no, obviously you've shown even success into the 410 ranks early on. As a 360 driver myself, I'm sure many of us would have the same question, but what tips and advice would you have for anybody, hoping to make that transition to 410 and, how they may drive versus a 360? What would you like to share there?
The biggest thing with transitioning to the 410 for me was definitely just how fast everything happens, or how much quicker everything happens in a 410 than a 360. But other than that, they kind of drive the same. You want to power through the wheel spin in a 410, where in a 360, if you're spinning tires, you're kind of just stuck in the middle of the track and you're not going anywhere. And but other than that, running the 410, it's, other than the competition, maybe it's kind of the same deal. You just got to gas it up and let it eat.
All right, we were joking a little bit before you came on here, Jordan. You're a bit of a ghost on social media. You don't really have a social media presence. I always like hanging out with you at the racetrack, but truthfully, I don't know much about you. So what are some of the things you like doing away from the racetrack? You mentioned, you got a full-time job. Tell us a little bit about Jordan Thomas, the away from the racetrack.
Yeah, the social media thing really isn't my thing.
No,
I don't really have time.
That's
don't have.
healthier.
Yeah, right. I try to stay off of it as much as possible. I go on there. The only thing I really do is check on races, see results, and all that. But yeah, other than racing and working, there ain't much time left in the day. But when I do have free time, like to get out on the golf course, hang out with some buddies. That's about it. I'm pretty relaxed in my free time.
Well, we got some good Canadian beer up here for you to sample, I'm sure, this weekend, Jordan. So I'll have to maybe do that on Saturday.
Yeah, right.
What is your preference? Slick, cowboy, or rubbered up track? What do you prefer, and what would you consider yourself best in?
For myself, it really doesn't matter. We, with the ESS and running the Patriots, we travel to different tracks every single weekend, and going to URC, we kind of venture out and we see a little bit of everything between the PA heavy, tacky, cowboy up tracks and the New York slick. So I've kind of found a happy medium with changing my driving style, at least to depend on how the tracks are. But I've heard Ohsweken's been quite different this year than in the past, so I'm excited to get up there on Friday and turn some laps and see what that looks like. But yeah, if it's heavy, I'll be happy, and if it's slick from top to bottom, I'll have a smile on my face too.
Awesome.
All right, Jordan, really appreciate you coming on. Now, before we let you go, we always end with our DJD Gear rapid fire segment. We got 10 questions for you. You just rattle them off, and whatever comes to mind. We got some racing ones, we got some non-racing ones, but I think there's a couple in here that you'll really enjoy. So if you're ready for it, I'm going to fire away.
All right.
Why the number 79?
So a little bit of a story with that. When my dad raced, he was 77. My uncle ran too. He was 78. So when it was time for me to start racing, I went with 79 just to carry on, I guess, the family tradition. And then my brother also raced, and he retired a little bit early when he was like 10 years old, but he was 80.
That's cool. What's your earliest memory at a racetrack?
Earliest memory was probably going to Williams Grove with my grandfather. He was really big into the sprint car racing. Like I said, he owned fielded cars and ESS, and fielded 2 cars for my dad and my uncle. So he was always big into it, and he would take me to Williams Grove just about every weekend to watch the weekly shows there.
All right. I always like asking this of people who are from small towns. So if I come to visit you in Harding, Pennsylvania, what are we doing?
We're probably going to work in the race shop. There ain't much in Harding. There's some farm fields, and you got the Susquehanna River. That's about it.
Where and when was your worst wreck?
The worst wreck was probably at Sealands Grove. Hopped a tire at the back or the end of the front stretch, cleared the fence, and ended up out in the parking lot. But I also had a worse, physical wreck was when I caught on fire. I had third-degree burns on my legs, and that was maybe 2 years ago. And we were that was the week before maybe the summer nationals, and we ended up missing out on that.
All right. Who is you've raced against a lot of competitors in a lot of different series. Who is one driver that you do not want to see waiting for you in your trailer at the end of the night?
Probably if you're racing 410s, you don't want to see Danny Dietrich standing in your trailer. He's a big boy, and you're gonna have your hands full with him if he's got a problem with you.
I can see that. Who's your favorite band or artist right now?
Probably something to do with country. Zach Bryan, Parker McComb, someone in that genre.
All right. I asked Connor Morell earlier this year before he cut his hair all off. What kind of shampoo do you use?
To be honest, I couldn't even tell you the name. Maybe Paul Mitchell, something like that.
All right. If it were up to you, if you win the 30K on Saturday and you can buy anything you want, what would you buy?
More race car parts, because we sure could use it. We've been tearing some stuff up lately.
All right. Your favorite place to stop and eat on the road?
Definitely Dandy gas stations. Late night, they got the best quick pizza.
All right. Last one, and I know you'll like this one. What do you guys go through more of during a season? Tires or smokes for your dad?
Oh, that one's close. There's a lot of cartons of cigarettes that are empty, and there's a lot of smoked off tires too. So we got a trailer full of burnt off tires, and I'm sure the trailer full of cigarettes would be just as big.
We'll just say that Jordan's dad is a bit of a nervous parent when he sees his boy out there, but he's a great guy. I'm looking forward to seeing you guys again this weekend, and wish you the best of luck. Thanks for doing this, man. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me on, and we'll see you guys this weekend.
For sure. All right. We want to thank Darren, Ryan, and Jordan for coming on the show. We really appreciate it. And I really appreciate the efforts of my co-host, who is under the weather, but still powered through. I mean, he is just a trooper. So if you're wondering why I was introducing the guest and Jacob wasn't, his voice is not 100%. So appreciate you sticking it out and not leaving me all by myself.
Hey, whatever it takes. But yeah, we really appreciate them coming on, and obviously wanted to talk about the merch. Obviously, Darren with his graphics is obviously a big supporter of our show, and it's always great to have him on and talk about his fellow competitors. So yeah, make sure to check those guys out and grab one of these bad boys.
Yeah, so Darren mentioned he is low on sizes, so I think he only has larges and above. So go see his trailer on Friday or Saturday, because he has whatever's left in stock he has with him, and also Ryan Turner will have shirts as well. So go check those guys out if you're at the track. Even if you don't see anything hanging up in their trailers, maybe just ask the drivers of their crews, because a lot of these guys, they make some extra money when they sell their merch. So go support your local race teams. And speaking of supporting local, you got to finally see some local racing. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, this past weekend I got to go over to the Freedom Factory in Bradenton, Florida. If you guys follow anything YouTube content created, you probably have heard of Cletus McFarland, the track owner of Bradenton Motorsports Park and the Freedom Factory. Obviously, he has crazy events going there, but it was cool to see some short track racing again back there on the oval. There was a lot of cars. It was about 120 cars total that showed up between the super late models, modifieds. They even had the sportsmen's, what we call sportsmen's down here, but it was some good racing. There was a lot of falling out of cars, so it was kind of like a survival race. But it was great to get back out there to see some racing. And I know Garrett Green is going to be coming from Florida all the way up there to Canada and Shaun's neck of the woods to compete with those guys. So I wish my local Floridian best of luck. And we appreciate everyone for tuning in. I know Shaun's going to be enjoying his dirt racing. I don't know what I have in store for myself, but hopefully it's got some good racing coming up. And we appreciate everyone for tuning in. And make sure to like and subscribe. Our giveaway is going to be ending soon, sometime this month. So make sure you're subscribed, because then you won't get some cool stuff. So
and before we go, we do want to mention next week we are going to have a preview show for the upcoming Four Crown Nationals at Eldora. And as of right now, we have Chris Wyndham coming on, which is going to be awesome. So we've had a few Canadian guests and a local Northeast guests, and we're going national again next week. So Chris Wyndham is going to come on, and we'll see if anyone else can stop by. But it's going to be a cool show next week, so you're going to want to stay tuned for that.
Yeah, make sure to grab an ice cold NOS Energy, and
that's right. We love NOS, especially if they want to sponsor us.
Yeah, grab a ice cold beverage and tune in for Big Daddy's episode. And thanks, and we'll see you guys in the next one.